way you treated me too many times before. Don't you know you love them, baby, too? Oh, you know I want you there, I wanna be right there with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side till the day I die. 'Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine. But now you done and piss me off. You ain't done something you shouldn't have done. And baby, I'm mad. I'm going on. Oh, I'm going on.
And welcome back to the Lost Begotten channel, where I'm gonna try to remember to start that song back at the beginning before I start the freaking stream next time, because it had a little bit of a glitch. Or yeah, I'm gonna call it a glitch. Actually, I just screwed up. Is really what it is. So anyways, today, once I'm done with this particular screen here, it's supposed to loop. Yes, I believe. Okay. We're just going to say that's it. And I have figured out some new interesting fun things. Also how to point my webcam at my head. You know, that helps from time to time. And thanks for joining me, Maximo, Emily, Carlos. I have before I get started, I want to show you a little trick. I currently have this, but I can also do this. And we can look at the chat. How about that? Isn't that special? So, see if I can not freak my computer out. And that is a movie player. And in this movie player, I can do things like this. Wait, yeah.
Trying to scrape up a down payment.
Oh no, it's adjusting to the size. How about that?
My next guest is a report around Wall Street that this is what he has in mind.
How's the audio coming through?
And some people think that he wants to buy the World Trade Center, the 110-story Manhattan skyscraper that anyone can pick up if they've got the coins.
Oh no! Okay, I can do it again. I'm having fun experimenting. And I got some spiffy little clips. Like one, for instance, I need to apologize because I got the date of a commercial wrong. The date that I showed you, you'll know in a second.
So what do you think of my
this is actually from 2010.
Finally, luxury and comfort I demand in my hotels.
Oh, they'll never catch me.
Listen, why don't you come work for me?
Crap, be fixed. I accidentally hit the X. I'm learning. Okay, so capture that thing. Yes. Okay.
So what do you think of my Trump home mattress collection?
See, I always make
Finally,
retractions.
the same luxury and comfort I demand in my hotels.
Oh, they'll never count sheep again.
Listen, why don't you come work for me?
What do you have in mind?
Something you were born to do.
Welcome to room 9.
Okay, so the audio's fine, I take it, or am I not seeing the comments? Oh, there we go.
Looking good, number 9. Looking
How
good.
about that?
Where's your dignity?
Save now on this Trump Home Luxury Suites mattress during the Serta Luxury Suite Savings Event. Now through Labor Day.
Okay, let me start that crap over again.
So what do you think of my Trump Home mattress collection by Serta? Finally, the same luxury and comfort I demand in my hotels.
Oh, never count sheep again.
Listen, why don't you come work for me?
What do you have in mind?
Something you were born to do.
Welcome to room 9.
And it's funny how
Looking good, number 9. Looking good.
Where's your dignity?
Save now on this Trump Home Luxury Suites mattress.
Where's your dignity?
YouTube likes to recommend videos. Okay, I use it on the PlayStation, all right, which is why, you know, every time I mention that, the PlayStation Network gets hacked. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. They already pretty much got everything they wanted last few times. But anyways, so if I watch 2 videos up in my recommended and recently uploaded, there's really no distinction between what actually appears there. Some of the things that are called recently uploaded are like 8 years old. But if I watch any couple of videos, sometimes even just one video, if I click the like button, in these 2 sections, and they're about maybe 20 suggestions long each row, you know, multiple videos will show up. The more videos I watch in a row, the more videos show up to like maybe half of the videos in each thing will be on that subject in different channels, ranging from millions of views to 5 views. If it's on that subject, it gets recommended. You know, like I don't not get recommended because my channel views are low. Okay, that doesn't happen. Otherwise, you'd never see any new channels. So when I was looking at these videos, and I will put the channel name as credit in the description, because or unless we find it on one of these videos when I'm recording, so I can give credit to this guy because he's got a lot of interesting things. He's got like Pizzagate videos and stuff like he's got all kinds of weird stuff up there. But anyways, I searched. Well, I didn't search. I clicked on a couple of different 9/11 videos. Okay, so 9/11 truther videos. If the orientation is to blame the United States government, the recommendations show up. But after I had found in the suggestions one of the videos that was about this, and then followed those suggestions, like, you know, like you have their channel videos and then you have suggestions while you're playing the video on the PlayStation YouTube. Okay, well, I maybe watched 3 videos like this in a row that I could find, and I made sure I clicked like on all of them. So I was hoping to see recommended videos and recently uploaded videos about this subject. Maybe just one. Not one of them showed up, and the normal 9/11 demolition holographic, those kind of videos all stopped showing up too. Whereas when I had just randomly seen one of the little analysis on the structure videos, other videos would pop up in the recommendations and the recently uploaded videos. But if, you know, with all the Russian hacking that goes on and all the Russian hacking that I've proven that happens on YouTube, on YouTube, if you connect Trump to 9/11, the recommendations go away. And I'll probably get demonetized for talking about this on this channel. And it'll be hard for any new people to see this broadcast unless they're searching for this type of broadcast right now, if I happen to do some of the tags correctly. I've actually reduced some of the tags because I think some of the tags that I've been using to try to get views based on my, 25, 30 years IT experience. I've built websites that some of which still get great results even though they're not there anymore. Okay, sites that I built in the 90s. Okay, I know how to properly keyword shit, and I should be able to use keywords to get more viewers. Okay, can't. If I put in certain keywords, like, a certain place, that place where we did that thing that time? Yeah, that place. I get less views, like drastically less views, just for having that in the keywords, and especially in the title. So, luckily today I made up 2 words. I posted them on Twitter. I don't know if it's finally uploaded. I made 2 attempts to tweet that out. The words are Rushublican and Americrat. We no longer have Republicans and Democrats in this country. We have Rushublicans and Americrats. Now we still have the Tea Party, the real far anti-government, libertarian side. Okay, Tea Party actually was initially libertarian, to my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then we have the Young Turks, which, if you go look back at most of Young Turks' coverage of Trump, it's disturbing how much Mr. Sink, and then, that's what I call him, Mr. Sink. I don't really fucking, I'm not going to go there. It's not polite to make fun of people's names, but I'm going to do it anyways. And yeah, anyways, Sink, the Young Turks guy, Mr. Sink. Every time they covered something about Trump, he was just a little bit of a subtle cheerleader and always trying to tell you why, but Trump's going to beat Hillary. Fucking pisses me off. Fucking shill. And, it's all a part of attacking the mainstream media based upon a child's understanding of corporations, of politics, of national security, stuff like that. And let me make sure my Wi-Fi is off here. My Wi-Fi is off. It says my stream health is red. Look at that. Stream health is red. I've never seen that before. It's usually green right there. Hey Sean, hey Joey. I have no idea how to import a Google Hangout to this, so I think we'll do the Google Hangouts on weekends maybe, and we can figure out some shit to actually talk about and present on there. Is everything showing up? Are y'all hearing everything okay? Oh, now my stream health has gone green again. I scooted back a little bit and I moved my chair, so now the Wi-Fi has a clearer path. So that's booga booga language for path. It has a clearer path to the router, because shittiness. So anyways, back to this, because I just wanted to start the video with a few other speech slurs and fuck ups. Now, I wanted to start the video by asking Republicans, pointing out some things we should ask Republicans. Hey there, Mr. Person who was raised in church and went to Sunday school. Don't you remember how the devil is the voice of the accuser? Well, all intelligence agencies in the West used to say you could spot people who were tainted by the KGB because they always wanted to accuse people of what they were guilty of. And I've been saying that for a while, and unless these two cats are one of my subscribers, they knew it too because they said it right here on Conan's show. And, you know, I'm not saying these are CIA spies, but that's John and Terry, and they're some wise old cats. You know, you got to give them credit for that. And they looked at each other like that, thinking, you could just tell, well, I could just tell when they looked at each other like that. It was a moment where they were like, should we tell them? Because it is kind of astonishing for people who actually knew about the Cold War, which, you know, should be these politicians and people that are, you know, in office and whatnot, and in national security and everything. They should at least know about the Cold War. Anybody who actually knew about the Cold War would be able to recognize this pattern that the KGB always used. They would accuse you of exactly what they were guilty of. And it used to be something that connected the Soviet Union and all their massive genocides and fucking, you know, infiltrations of churches and their spread of communism, Marxism, and evolutionism, pantheism, okay, atheism even. Money, put money behind spreading atheism. Oh, yes, they did. Well, now you have a guy who very well could be simply accusing everyone, or his opponents in particular, Hillary Clinton, of exactly what he's guilty of. Every conspiracy that has come out, everything that he's said from the stump, when it all comes back to it, there's a lot more evidence pointing back at him than there is evidence that implicates Hillary Clinton, for instance. And the same can be said, say, with Russian ceasefires, for instance. They often accuse Kiev of breaking Russian ceasefires. They accused Kiev of having fascist Nazis wanting to, you know, take people out of their homes and ship them off. And then they proceeded to send a bunch of fascist Nazis into Crimea to take people out of their homes and ship them off. That's all on camera. I mean, that's documented. People were on the ground going to jail and getting tortured. People were going to jail and getting tortured. Real reporters, not media. Okay? Simon Ostrovsky is not a fucking, you know, CIA agent. He's not some fucking shill. He is a real reporter who sheds tears on the ground in his fucking muddy, blood-soaked boots. And, you know, damn near had his ear ripped off just so he could bring people the truth about what was going on there in East Ukraine and in Crimea. Anyways, I'd love to talk to that guy because he speaks Russian. He's actually from Russia, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, being from a place behind the border, Russian, that's just a word. What Russian has come to mean, you know, to truth in the eyes of God is the deceiver of all nations, because they have literally played us all like fucking fiddles for decades now, if not centuries. But despite my warnings, and despite the demonstration of the wrath behind my warnings, there were vast swaths of land that just seemed to be hypnotized into thinking Trump was going to come gold plate all their fucking streetlights. And there were many instances in which the warnings could not be any clearer. This is about warning hypocrites of destruction. And hypocrites they were. But, you know, what's wrong with Russia, right? Russia's where Putin is from, and Putin's going to save us from the, you know, from the terrorists. He's going to help defeat ISIL. There's nothing that could possibly indicate that Sodom and Gomorrah could be in Russia. All right, this is the type of porn, the #1 type of porn searched per country. Anyways, I find that funny. And you know, as for Russia fighting ISIS, well, the people on the ground there, they would have something to say about that. They might tell you, when it comes to bad guys, Russia's more likely to send more and to pay the ones that are there to do their bidding. And then they'll frame, set up, hoax, if you will, different civilian areas so they can bomb the shit out of them. But, you know, don't gotta take my word for it. The Russian aggression against us is mainly directed against the civilians. Our evidences will be ready for the UN something. JCT. Yeah. Terrorist friends, Russia and Iran are backing up Assad and ISIS to attack the Free Syrian Army. Friends of Syria, what have you done so far? And that is in October 2015. 15. Yeah. They're burning the Russian flag. And notice this group, unlike a lot of groups, like especially the Islamic State groups, aren't just a bunch of military-age males. There's women and children in that crowd. These are civilians doing this. Not like this crowd. These are the reinforcements that Russia sent to Mosul via Mr. Kadyrov. You know what's funny is that Putin and Kadyrov claim to hate fags. Why is your country looking up so much anal porn? But, you know, hating fags is something that Putin and, well, frankly, ISIL and the Republicans have in common. They don't like queers. God hates fags because the Old Testament says so. You know, there was this guy named Jesus once. And he said that in the end, there would be 2 men lying in one bed, or there would be 2 women who snuck out into a field to be grinding together. And when Judgment Day came, one would be taken and the other would not. And this is after much that this man said that the people called Pharisees at the time found it very disagreeable because it contradicted in some way, in their eyes, what was called the Old Covenant. And the Old Covenant, yes, not supposed to even waste a drop of the skeet. Not a drop. Why? Because that was the law for the wilderness. That was the law of preservation of God's people. Now, you have the right, actually, within your family, to forbid non-productive splatterification. Okay? If there is a Holocaust around you. Okay? But that's it. You know? Prosperous times, everything's fine. You're not all gonna die. Most of you aren't already dead. You're not trying to repopulate the planet. There's a law given to a group of refugees. Again, back to groups of refugees. It's a very biblical process. In order to get them the fuck away from where they were. So that they could start a whole new civilization. So that they could be fruitful and multiply in the land of milk and honey. Which, you know, everywhere from Ukraine to the south of France had fucking shit tons of milk and honey. But this is why I've been talking about this throughout the history of this channel. The difference between Old Covenant and New Covenant. The difference between the time in which God was present and powerful enough to judge mankind for himself and the New Covenant. The time we are in which you should judge not, lest ye be judged yourself. Because God's judgment is absolute and you should trust in it. That's called faith. You know, faith. The shit you have to believe in a little room floating this far above the surface of the earth. And, you know, in this room, footballs become holographic red phased things on live TV. Just the football, though, you know, just the thing that was defying gravity, that couldn't have had strings or harnesses. Just that one thing that they were trying to focus your attention on. Okay. That really would have been hard to fake in most of the accounted for scenarios. That one thing, you know, just happened to be a little glitch in the matrix. And, well, Nessa is a big fuel waster. NASA is just a big budgetary waster. Hillary Clinton didn't really like NASA very much. NASA's very much a Republican American pride thing. Even after all the flat earth shills supported Trump, he's going and trying to say, we're going to Mars and I'm going to refund NASA. With his little 666 sign. And then there's the other side of the Shillaverse. These Bundy Ranch standoff people, these just anti-New World Order, the government's taking over people. Funny how they have so much in common. I mean, really, when you dissect the rhetoric, they have so much in common with the little Eastern power propaganda machine. By little, I mean, you know, they outnumber us 10 to 1. No big deal. But, you know, you want to act like them? You want to side with them? Stop using that flag, buddy. There's a flag for you. There is the flag that you're looking for. Republicans can no longer call themselves patriotic. They failed to stand for America. They failed to stand for American values. They chose party and politics over patriotism. And they couldn't even manage to get fucking Obamacare repealed like they've been promising for the past 7 years. So, let me check the comments right quick. See if anybody got any questions. Anybody got any questions? Oh, here we go. I'll read some comments we got here. Hey, Sean and Sean. Perfect stream, better than usual. I've got my husband listening along and asking me who the guys on the screen are. Sigh. What happens to Simon is heartbreaking. Yeah. I'd say centuries. I guess that was a comment on something I was saying. Backdoor policy. Because it's like Folgers? Wait, what's like Folgers? The best part of waking up? I wonder if I'm missing something here. Maybe I'm just not getting it. Explain! Alright. So anyways, while I'm waiting on questions, take a look at this photograph here. I like this photograph. You should, you know, I got this on Twitter. I'll try to post the edited version somewhere. You can just take a little picture of this right here, maybe. It's just funny, you know, how like much the nationalists like to have just a shit ton of flags, just like the old Eastern armies used to, I mean, the horde armies used to have. They had more flags than spears, man. And the Spanish, after the Spanish were Islamicized, or Old Testamentized, whichever you want to call it. It's fucking two sides of the same coin. They like to carry a whole lot of flags in the battle. And then now you have Donbass protest. That's what this is. And this is not the first time a Russian-funded separatist movement, you know, other than the one here, has used a Georgian cross, a St. George cross, which happens to be an X, which happens to be, symbol of Orion, which is another tale on Horus the Younger, which is another tale on the son of the Gorgonian queen, Ishtar. So that's really not just Russian imagery, not just imagery of the very imperial house that America rebelled from Tea Party, okay, St. George, okay, but it is in fact an occult symbol representing the Antichrist. It is a symbol for Horus the Younger, son of Gabriel and Hathor, meant to have been son of Adam and Hathor. Or that was an old timeline shit. And this timeline would have been Abel and Hathor. Anyways. Pride, the old devil from the old universe that doesn't fucking exist anymore. So it's kind of almost pointless to talk about, but it's interesting because that's the universe most people still think exists. And now I officially sound like I'm fucking talking crazy shit. It's because I am. And I'm okay with that. Moving on. So, it seems to me, before I move on, I'll leave that up there so I can get back to what I was talking about. There he says he meant good to the last drop. That was a response to the skeet ski joke. Yeah, yes, you're definitely a smartass. Carlos, separatists in Spain, Scotland, Italy, etc. go to St. Petersburg for, quote, conferences. That's good intel. Thank you. I appreciate that. I had a feeling that was going on, but I didn't have any other extra accounts of it. Anton Shikovstov covers that. Apparently that's the name of a opposition journalist in Russia, I'm guessing. SHEKHOVSOV. Excuse me. How does Portuguese, Dutch, British colonialism fit into this? Both East and West Indies. What's very interesting is that colonialism is a lot like what America's resistance to the Soviet Union was. Okay? And the parallels in the accusatory side have potency because of this. Okay? The more powerful lies always have a grain of truth in them. Well, when they accuse America of just being just like the colonial powers, they actually have a point. Because the colonial times were a several hundred-year period that played out a lot like the Cold War. You know, with plenty of fucking wars actually happening. But overall, it was the same kind of worldwide domination quest, and then basically an attempt on people to prosper their way into survival. Okay? And it was basically propaganda and emotional outrage and, you know, fake news. I mean, fake news is a very, very old practice. It goes back more than 3,000 years. The way it's been used today. I've been trying to tell you that, you know, since before everybody found out about it. So you have colonies as the Islamic horde was expanding, set up in areas that either liberated themselves or called upon, that is, they actually did call upon British powers to help them liberate themselves or to liberate them by force. And then you had many other instances in which it was simply reconquests. Okay? Really, look at it this way. The Crusades never ended. They never did. There's no first crusade, last crusade. Just been one gigantic holy war for over 1,000 years now. I hope that answered your question. It's basically a matter of the same way we, helped out Vietnam. The British used to help out India. And, that's why there are still British loyalists in India, because despite what you're told, it wasn't all fucking horrible on that side. What was horrible was the massive 20 million people that got killed by the Muslims when they came. And, British came after that. Wonder why. Wonder why there was a need of a civilized authority to take root. Wonder why so many people there were willing to cooperate with British authority. They were at war with the Caliphate, with the Ottomans, with the Horde. And it's for that reason that you still have, to this day, Sikhs and Hindus who are British citizens living in India, who travel back and forth, who have domiciles in both places. Not so much, like Donald Trump's Indian Muslim friends. It's funny how, Mr. Anti-Muslim, he doesn't have the Hindu friends. He's more got the Muslim Indian friends. Just, I have nothing against Muslims, okay? I have something against the Islamist, Kabbalist, combined fucking horde that doesn't believe in any actual religion. It just uses religions to gain and take. But, Muslims, just like a lot of religions, are a group of people who have been misled. And the root of the original texts that people now know as the Quran was actually written by a woman about a woman. And she was the incarnation of the mother of all muses. Which is why, they call it Islam, not Muslimism. They say I'm a Muslim, but that's just an old word that they really shouldn't be using anymore, because it's not the same religion that it used to be. That's an old Egyptian religion that was matriarchal. Anyways, it was about singing. Anyways, so back to the comments. Ooh, I missed a lot of comments. While Sean was asleep in a tree the last 400 or 500 years. Yes, that all did occur while I was asleep in a tree, but it was, leading up to that before then. Remembering what happened before then, and then finding real Crusades history. Gotta check that out. It kind of like backed up everything I was remembering. So then to have that kind of confidence in interpreting, well, no, we don't, we're not these fucking assholes that people are claiming us to be. There's got to be some truth to that. There's got to be some way to decipher this historically, factually. Oh, yeah, there is. Just, you know, stop turning a blind eye to 2/3 of the fucking world. And you wind up inevitably at the truth. And then I don't really know. Okay, I've explained this before. The tree, and I think that is visible. Hold up, let me show you, because I think we actually have the tree on a photo, and I've showed you this before, but I forgot to point out the tree in it. Let me just get the picture up right quick, if I can find it. This picture right here. Okay? There's the tree. We found this picture after I woke up, and, you know, we remembered everything, and I started typing about it on fucking Facebook posts and everything. Found this picture just looking for waterfalls in New Zealand. And that's, I've described it how I was sitting, you know, much like I'm sitting now, but like at an angle. That's the angle. That's why I think that's the tree. It looks like an old petrified. You'd probably up to that, and it would look just like rock. But that's petrified tree. Just like a lot of the world is. It's actually petrified tree. Just saying. Why I'm saying that, I have no idea, but I feel the need to tell you that most of the world is in fact made of petrified tree. And yes, flat Earth comes from Nordic mythology. As far as the most recent people who, you know, held on to that kind of a belief. It was always a Baltic, European, Nordic belief, as opposed to a, you know, Khazarian, Nodian, Russian belief. So, yeah. Let me get back to the comments, and I'm sure I'll leave that up for a second while I get back to the comments, because I'm sure, you know, Emily's freaking out right about now. And by the way, that could be like one of the most significant waterfall gateways of my dreams. Yeah, but that's a lot to remember at once right now. Anyways. And where was she while I was asleep in a tree? Kira, my wife? She was in many different lives, many different bodies. According to my theory, this includes her own mother. And a certain princess in a certain place of extreme relevance. You know, that place from that thing that time. Yeah. Look at the photos. Bit of a family resemblance with her family. You can trace back her previous incarnations from there, actually. If you're really fucking clever. If you're really clever. So, Tim says that Good to the Lax dropped Maxwell House. Yeah. From the Reverend Maxwell. I mean, wait. The parallel. You wondered about the parallel between the past 500 years and me being stuck and gone? Well, there's a lot of really obvious parallels in there. You have a definite separation between the ever-increasing onslaught towards basically Britain, okay, like towards France, towards Germany, and that stopped right around the time that I remember checking out. And that's 420 years before I was born into this life. So that's why I, you know, estimated around 500 years ago, because I fucking feel old. Yeah. So, during the time, and I cut myself off earlier. Let me see if I can get back to it with the comments, and because I think it's relevant back to what I was saying before. I could sense at the moment, like, I can figure out why the tree seemed like it was cut down. I knew it was cut down. I was aware of industrial processes. I didn't really know who I was or why I was there when I was on the tree. But I clearly had an emotional, empathic instinct to protect the planet and people on it who were innocent. And I remember I could definitely sense a difference between, you know, the business people who were just fucking everything up at the time. And at the time that I became aware, from what I could sense, and I guess the tree being cut down the way it was is also another context clue, I had guessed that it was the mid to late 1800s when I started to wake up, you know, in a spiritual consciousness that was sitting back, kind of leaned to the right on this tree trunk. And I wasn't, you know, breathing. I couldn't move my eyes. I couldn't move any of my body, but I had a physical body that was sitting on the tree trunk. And I'd love to know where this picture faces, because even though the surrounding area seems like the surrounding area that I was seeing at the time, it was a certain direction that I was sensing all the industrialization and everything happening. And it was just a matter of, I noticed the tree was cut down. And then I began to sense all the trees being cut down. And then I began to sense everything that was being done with them, including metalworking to build weapons. And they were blowing up mountains to get more metal so they could make more weapons. And they were making more saws so they could cut down more trees. And they were just making a machine of the world. And it was bloody, and it was destroying everything. And it was the stench. God, the stench. And it just made me despair. And I just wanted to fix it. It's like I always want to fix everything. Yeah, that's what I do. I buy old shit and I fix it so I can fucking use it where nobody else had any use for it. Maybe I bought the universe used. Kind of seems like it sometimes. But it seems to me just now that my emotional reaction to that moment and I was leaning back, and the fuckery was off this way and that way. Like that, really. Because if I lean the chair just right, that's a better way to represent how it was. And there was kind of another little set of like canyon outlets, kind of like this one back here, but up over there on the left, right? And the reaction I had seemed to snap me into that other dream. And then I woke up. Woke up in a pool of sweat, man. Thought I'd pissed my bed. Just drenched head to toe. Cold as hell. Cold as could be. I've had a lot of really weird dreams where I'd wake up in just absolute pools of cold sweat. Always seem to be the most surreal ones, you know? So, what I don't know is when exactly and by who that tree got cut down. Whether or not I was buried underneath there and the tree was grown on top of me, or I was cursed and locked into that tree when it was whole and then it was cut down, and that's why I was freed from it, maybe. In fact, that's really seemed like the most plausible solution to me. That basically greed, in the form of wanting to cut down a big fucking tree for money, came up and bit the very people in the ass who wanted to keep me out of the picture. And notice how the waterfall pours out of a V shape. Anyway, and back to the comments. So, Tim correct. Picking up the pieces, feeding orphans and widows. British in India, seems that the Dutch went to Indonesia as well. Yeah, the Dutch went to Australia. The Dutch went all the way everywhere. It's because what what we now know of as the Dutch, being a little country, used to be a whole lot of people in a whole lot of Europe. And, you know, that's why they're everywhere else now, because that became rather inhospitable during a, you know, recently discussed time period. You know, that's why they call us the nation. That's why Obama said we're a nation of refugees, because we're a nation of refugees. We came here escaping the Islamic horde. And what pisses me off is that people don't realize when Obama said that we're a nation of refugees, he's acknowledging he knows what the fuck you're talking about. He's not a Muslim. Oh, God. The whole idea that Obama was a Muslim. You judge them by their works. Okay? That's how Jesus told you to decipher those things. That's what I'm telling you right now again. Judge them by their works. So, Maximo, and maybe Joey knows something about this too, because he studies it actually. Maximo says it makes sense from an old Chinese medicine point of view, the petrified wood. You got any other comments you can add on that, Maximo? That's fascinating. We do have Super Chat enabled as always. I know it takes credit cards, but you know, I don't know. Maybe I'll put Super Chat in the comment and be like, Super Chat to get the baby Jesus to answer any questions you want. I don't know. Let me find some stupid way to make this stupid channel make some stupid money so I can pay stupid bills. Stupid. Anyway, moving on. Apparently we're done with that. So, back in the comments. Let's see if I can plus you up a little bit there. Isn't that special? So anyways, I have a little a collection, if you will, of some videos, and I want to discuss them, but maybe they can be clipped into another video for further discussion. Maybe I'll do that. So I'm just going to show you what I got, because as y'all know, I've been working on whether or not there is a connection here. Because if there's a connection here, we got a bit of a problem. And you know, I didn't want to jump the gun as far as how direct a connection might be. You know, maybe this would both just, you know, it's Putin's plan and Trump's just a part of it. He's not really collusive. He was just, you know, given opportunities to invest in certain places that happen to be really convenient once the centers fell. But I kept digging. And I don't know if there's anybody else who there's quite as much video talking about being near, referring to, taking pictures with. There's no celebrity, no government official, no real estate agent, no New Yorker, no New York mayor in history. No one on video related to those two buildings more than that man. Now that's just a coincidence. Very easily, nothing but a coincidence. And now you're starting to see the reason why I didn't mention anything too specific in the title of the video. Because there's something else I found out that I think is a little more than a coincidence. And I'm just going to play each one of these videos I have, because I don't know which one the particular piece of information is on it. But if you're familiar with truther theory, as soon as you hear the name, your jaw will hit the floor. And of course, well, all these videos are pretty interesting, so it shouldn't be much trouble to keep watching them with me. And we'll find out what it is together.
Donald Trump his book, The America We Deserve, published to
Sorry.
told me that of the 1993 Trade Center looked like kids playing fireworks. Trump recently suggested that George W. Bush will protect the country from a terror attack.
When you talk about George Bush, you can say what you want. Center down his time.
In his book, Trump met the mastermind behind the threat by name. One day we were told that a shadowy figure, no dream of someone, is public enemy number one. U.S. Jefferson slave boys in Afghanistan.
So Trump, the attack was response to solidarity.
Well, I think quickly and effectively you have to find out exactly what the cause was, who did these people, because there is no other sector. Less importantly, we have to rebuild as majestic as the road.
What kind of cost would you estimate to rebuild this area when money has been lost in the attack?
I would say $15 to $20 billion to billions of dollars. I really feel that the location is such the important to build. Again, not 2 hours, but something bigger.
Like the president.
I really don't know if I would. I like this president who could
Why dedicate yourself?
because it's a very life. I wouldn't dedicate my life. I see it as being strong views and somebody who could use that are maybe a little bit unpopular, which may be right, but maybe wouldn't necessarily have being elected against somebody with a great brain but a big smile.
This sounds. I know I'll talk to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you
Probably. You get tired of this in the country.
why would you not?
I really have the I love what I'm doing. I really love.
So then, hey,
I just probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening in this country, and it's so bad. I never want to rule it out totally because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country. How we're really making other people look like kings, and we're not.
believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone into losing in my life, and if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning because I think people. I don't know how your audience goes, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing: this country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been. Believe me.
Believe me.
Eastern Republic. Fair? Well, I guess you could say that. Which means kind of a Rockefeller, Chase Manhattan Republican. I never thought of one of those terms. How do you define it? Are you a Bush Republican?
Nick, I'm really, the people that I do best with are the people that drive the taxis. Wealthy people don't like me because I'm competing against them all the time and they don't like me and I like to win. The fact is, I go down the streets of New York, people that really like me are the taxi drivers and the workers, etc., etc. I mean, I really get it.
Why are you a Republican?
I have no idea. I mean, I am a Republican because I just believe in certain principles of the Republican Party.
You have flirted with the idea of politics. Now you're here at your first national convention. Does that get you interested in possibly making the plunge?
Now you have to tell me something. Who told you I flirted?
Well,
I didn't know that I flirted.
Well, you took out full-page ads in the New York Times to talk about your foreign policy. Some people would say...
I do feel very strongly about the country. I love the country.
You've become a role model. The reason that your book sells, the reason that your game sells, is because people are looking for leaders. People are looking for values, and you're one of the people. And it's so you just are about Trump president. What they're really talking about is show us the way. Be the true white guy.
I'm, again, somebody who has a good instinct financially. I have had historically. All at once, I've been going in the right direction. There's New York.
Proving it.
financial standpoint. And something has to burst. When a country is billions and billions and billions of dollars a year, and when other countries get hundreds of billions of dollars, something is going to burst. It's going to start here. I know it. Question when. To me, it's not a question if, it's a question. And unless we solve our problem. The problem is caused by our habits. Unless we're going to solve that problem. This is depression, trouble. You rely to take over and run the country as you have run. I would much prefer that somebody else would. I just don't know if somebody else is there. I don't know if we have the kind of advocate. Major surgery. This country needs major surgery. Are you the surgeon? Do a fantastic job for not doing it. Saying you will take it home and draft it. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I hope that somebody will come along who can be an advocate, and I think that somebody will be popular. But you haven't seen it. He or she will be the most. But now I'm with that person. We're there. But again, I do know it's not a question. This country is hundreds of billions. The question when.
They did not knock down the World Trade Center. The Iraqis that knocked down the World Trade Center. One after Iraq, just the country, Iran taken over. We knocked down the World Trade Center. Papers said they're going to find it's the Saudis, okay? But you will find out.
Write everything on videos. I don't think this is the. It's got a lot of interesting stuff with it too. I'm going to make a real compilation of this stuff and upload it so y'all can get better quality of this. And like I said, once I'm done, I'll go ahead and get the link of the full video. He's got all the stuff about Mandela effect with the movies, you know. Basically, you know how I told you muses have been trying to tell you this stuff for years through movies. And also there's been a whole lot of infiltration into the movie industry that's been trying to condition you. So it's been, you know, a battlefield on both sides. But they got all the movie clips from like Gremlins 2 and Back to the Future that all has that. Alright, so let's just see if one of the smaller files will work. That was a rather big
and
file.
This is Donald, 3 years old, and some people think that he wants to buy the World Trade Center, the 110-story Manhattan skyscraper that anyone can pick up. You got the coins.
Hey, that's... Mr. Plant, the building's in a... Where's the building? Oh, no, it's a balloon. We just got some... problems.
That one working better?
Seriously that he's a good enough bargainer to negotiate a nuclear disarmament treaty with the Russians.
I really am convinced we're in danger of the sort of terrorist attack that will make the bombing of the 1993 Trade Center look like kids playing with firecrackers.
Donald Trump is on the line. I mean, we know him as the man behind lots of in Manhattan, and of course, Donald, I understand you were actually as to what happened.
Well, I have a window that looks directly at the World Trade. I saw this huge explosion. I was with a group of people. I really couldn't even believe it. You look at Larry Silverstein, a terrific owner in New York, and a very friend of mine who I just called. I was very worried about him because I assumed he made the building. He took possession of the building 1 week ago.
How much money has been lost in the attack?
I would say 15 to 20 billion.
A huge explosion with a group of people, and I really couldn't even believe it. Larry is a terrific owner in New York, and who I just called. I was very worried about him because I assumed maybe he was in the building. One owner in New York, and a very good friend of mine who I just called. I was very worried about him because I assumed maybe he was in the building. He took this huge explosion. I was with a group of people, and I really couldn't even believe it. You look at Larry Silverstein, in New York, a very good friend of mine who I just called. I was very worried about him because I assumed he was in the building. He took possession of the building 1 week ago.
How much money?
I would say 15 to 20 billion dollars. You're talking billions and billions of dollars, and
so that's enough of the glitchy thing.
Irreparable.
Did y'all hear that?
But I really feel.
Did y'all hear that one part? Did you hear the little part about Larry Silverstein? I'll keep playing that one little part over and over again until you actually hear him say it. Silverstein that's the guy that gave the order to just pull it. The guy who owned the Trade Center buildings. The guy who made $7.2 billion, or what was it, $4 billion. He paid $3 and it went up to 7.2 for the insurance claim. So he made 4.2 billion dollars.
That the location is
money.
I'd say 15 to 20 billion dollars. You're talking billions and billions of dollars, and it's irreparable. But I really feel the location is such, and the importance of the monument is such, you have to rebuild. And again, not necessarily in the form of this, but something has to be done that's very big, very majestic.
So what happened this morning?
Well, I have a window that looks directly at the World Trade Center, and I saw this huge explosion. I was with a group of people, and I really couldn't even believe it. You look at Larry Silverstein, who's a terrific owner in New York, a very good friend of mine who I just couldn't believe it. You look at Larry Silverstein, a terrific owner in New York, and a very good friend of mine who I just Larry Silverstein is a terrific owner in New York, and a very good friend of mine who you look at Larry Silverstein is a terrific owner in New York, and a very good friend of mine who I just called, where maybe he was in the building. He took possession.
Get it yet? Silverstein. Someone who's obviously directly involved with the pre-positioning of explosions, of explosives. The guy who gave the order to pull it. Trump says what about him?
Because I saw maybe he was in the building, possession of the building. A friend of mine who I just called, I was very worried about. He's a terrific owner in New York, and this huge explosion. I was with a group of people, and I really couldn't even believe it. I mean, you look at Larry Silverstein, who's a terrific owner, a very good friend of mine who I just called. I
Larry Silverstein, a terrific owner in New York,
was in
very
possession of the building.
Larry Silverstein, a very good friend of Donald Trump. According to Donald Trump. Maybe fake news. Is anybody still allowed to actually see this right now? I see just fucking the viewers have dropped. Apparently Emily had already figured this much out. Yeah, I was looking mostly at the direct real estate positioning, you know, as far as like a tactical mapping of Donald Trump's little empire. I wasn't so much looking at these kind of videos until now. But to hear him say that, and that's the first person he mentions by name, you know, happens to know the owner of the building by name right then, and very close personal friend of his. Nothing but good things to say about it. And Emily says Silverstein is also friends with a bunch of Russian mafiosos. Huh. Very interesting, isn't it? So why is it Republicans? Well, what is it they have to offer? What the hell, you know?
At first by trickle, but then in a rush. Trillions invested in oil will be lost, while trillions in new energy will be won. The power of
maybe this works better. I was hoping I could avoid the fucking glitchiness that this was doing. But if I load one of these at a time, maybe I can get it up there. How's that video working? Bye, Joey. See, we have this little problem, or oil companies have this little problem. Oil companies like, you know, the Russian government have a little bit of a problem. Democrats want people to be free of the very resource that keeps them in power. It's a very simple equation. Everything about Democrats, everything about protecting your rights, protecting your freedom, not just sloganizing such things because they're busy doing it. Russia, the Muslim countries, and the Republicans all have that in common. But there's this one other thing they have in common that ties it all back to the money. Oil. Boy, they sure do have a lot in common, don't they? So anyways, let me try to load that other video into there since that one worked well.
And this is Donald Trump, 33 years old. And some people think that he wants to buy the World Trade Center, the 110-story Manhattan skyscraper that anyone can pick up if they've got the coins.
Hey, that's Clem. Let's go. Mr. Clem, is it true the building's been evacuated?
Sir, is the building on fire? No, that's false alarm. We've just got some problems.
That's from Gremlins 2. Well, apparently this is working fine. My idea was stupid. I thought I had accomplished something.
Nuclear disarmament treaty with the Russians.
I really am convinced we're in danger of the sort of terrorist attacks that will make the bombing of the
I'll figure out a better
1993
use
Trade
for it
Center
some other
look like kids playing with firecrackers.
Now I just want to delete that whole fucking place in the video. But it's a live broadcast, so I can't.
Donald Trump is on the line. I mean, we know him as the man behind lots of real estate in Manhattan, and of course, Donald, I understand you were actually a witness to what happened this morning.
Well, I have a window that looks directly at the World Trade Center, and
the audio isn't syncing with the video, though.
I was with a group of people, and I
already.
You really couldn't even believe it. I mean, you look at Larry Silverstein, who's a terrific owner in New York, and a very good friend of mine who I just called. I was very worried about him, because I assume maybe he was in the building. He took possession of the building 1 week ago.
How much money has been lost in the attack?
I would say 15 to 20 billion.
This huge explosion. I was with a group of people, and you really couldn't even believe it. I mean, you look at Larry Silverstein, who's a terrific owner in New York, and a very good friend of mine who I just called. I was very worried about him, because I assume maybe he was in the building. He took possession of the building 1 week ago.
Larry
How much money has been lost in the attack?
I would say 15 to 20 billion dollars. You're talking billions and billions of dollars, and it's irreparable.
Donald Trump is on the line. I mean, we know him as the man behind lots of real estate in Manhattan, and of course, Donald, I understand you were actually a witness to what happened this morning.
Well, I have a window that looks directly at the World Trade Center, and I saw this huge explosion. I was with a group of people, and you really couldn't even believe it. I mean, you look at Larry Silverstein, who's a terrific owner in New York, and a very good friend of mine who I just called. I was very worried about him, because I assume maybe he was in the building. He took possession of the building 1 week ago.
How much money has been lost in the attack?
I would say 15 to 20.
So, Silverstein and Trump. Not a lot of connections between Bush and Silverstein. When I found this out, something dawned on me. See, one of the things that they always tried to implicate the United States government with was reports of a large number of uniformed FEMA employees in the lower levels of the buildings before it happened. Now, it's a far cry to say because of some strategic real estate positioning, Donald Trump would have been involved enough in the operations of the World Trade Center to have, say, called up the old casting company and had them send some extras dressed like FEMA employees to go do a live action drama. But if he was good, dear, close friends with Silverstein, that becomes all the more plausible. And now the likelihood of it has gotten to disturbing levels. See, I always knew, just knowing national security, that there could be multiple reasons why the Bush administration would, to some extent, cover up, keep certain things a secret regarding the attacks on September 11th. But while there were indirect financial gains that could be alleged as a result. And while it did seem like he didn't do much to fucking stop it, there wasn't a whole lot of ways to directly tie him to what had happened. But there's a lot of ways to directly tie Russia. And there's a lot of ways to directly tie Trump, apparently. And there's sure a hell of a lot of ways to tie Trump and Russia. And, well, what the Democrats have said is that our strategy is not to provoke terrorists and promote their sympathies. George Bush's strategy was not to provoke Russia. He didn't know for sure. He couldn't have known for sure. I don't even know if he suspected until the Pelosi leverage situation that I've discussed on previous videos happened in about 2006. By then, we already had fucking railroad contracts through Russia to move our shit back and forth. Still shows 3 people watching. Woohoo. You know, I'm not some paid conspiracy buff. And I'm not a moron. The theories that I've come up with on numerous occasions have proven correct. And this theory should be looked into. And anybody who considers themselves a truther needs to take a step back and perhaps wake up and smell the treason. So anyways, thanks for those who joined me, and please click the like button on this video. Please share it to anyone you think might be interested, and thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check your subscription if you are subscribed. Again, don't forget to click the little thumbs up button. Peace.
The way it treated me too many times before. Don't you know you love them, baby, too? Oh, you know I want you there, I wanna be right there with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side today I die. 'Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine. Oh, now you done me on. You ain't done something you shouldn't have done. Baby, I'm mad. I'm going on.